Johnny Walker vs Magomed Ankalaev 2 is going to take place this Saturday, January 13th, and in this video I will be giving you guys my predictions for the entire card. That includes the main card and the preliminary card. Now, this is my first ever prediction video, but I decided to add something a little unique. In the top left-hand corner, right-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner, in one of the corners is going to be some numbers. The numbers in green are going to be the fights that we have predicted right, and the numbers in red is going to be the number of fights we have predicted wrong. Now, since this is the first prediction video I have done here on this channel, it is 0 to 0 right now. Every week, I'm going to update that number and show it to you guys at the beginning of every video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Starting with the main event, Johnny Walker vs Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed Ankalaev is an incredibly talented striker and grappler. His grappling is often overlooked because, his striking is so prevalent in his fights. That's kind of what you see the most of. But the dude does have good wrestling, which he does not get credit for. However, Johnny Walker, on the other hand, is an incredibly talented striker, a wild striker, but he doesn't have that good wrestling. But we all know when it comes down to wrestler versus striker, it's usually the wrestler that pulls out the W. I believe even looking at the odds for this fight, it's minus 455 for Magomed and plus 350 for Johnny Walker. So Magomed Ankalaev is the clear favorite to win. And if I was going for a beautiful record and I wanted to keep that 0-0 as nice as possible for me, I would definitely choose Magomed Ankalaev. However, my heart wants Johnny Walker to win, and I am a fan of his. So I'm gonna lock in my pick as Johnny Walker for this fight. In the co-main event is going to be Matthias Nicolau versus Mendes Cape. Now, Mendes Cape is probably the most talked about flyweight in the flyweight division. In fact, he's making the division much more popular, especially with all his antics. Really swell guys. He does a lot of trash talk, and that's really fun for that division. That division hasn't had some excitement in quite some time. Although Mendes Cape is the better striker by just a little bit, I think Matthias Nicolau is a good enough striker to be able to go toe-to-toe. He's defensive enough to be able to avoid the big bombs that Mendes Cape is going to be throwing, and Matthias Nicolau is also a better grappler than Mendes Cape. So when it comes down to it, although I do think Mendes is like this hilarious flyweight, I think Matthias is going to get the win. The next fight we're looking at here is Gabriel Benitez versus Jim Miller. When it comes to striking, Gabriel Benitez and Jim Miller are about even. When it comes to grappling, Jim Miller has the slight advantage. However, I think Gabriel Benitez is going to be skilled enough to stay on the feet and be able to outbox Jim Miller. And if it does go to the ground, I think he has the skills to defend himself. So my pick here is going to be Gabriel Benitez to win this fight. The next fight is going to be Ricky Simone versus Mario Bautista. Although Ricky Simone is a good striker, Mario Bautista just happens to be a slightly better one. However, when it comes to the grappling, Ricky Simone is definitely going to have a huge advantage over Mario Bautista. I think Ricky Simone is a good enough striker to be able to strike with Mario Bautista and not really be in any danger. However, I think Ricky Simone is a much better grappler than Mario Bautista. So when it comes down to it, I think Ricky Simone is the more overall well-rounded fighter. So I'm going to give this win to Ricky Simone. Our next fight is going to be Phil Hawes versus Bruno Fiera, and I hope I pronounced that right. Now, Bruno is a very good fighter. All 10 of his wins are finishes. He's only ever lost one fight by knockout. Now, when it comes to striking, Bruno is just a little bit better than Phil. However, when it comes to grappling, Phil is much better than Bruno. But then again, we haven't seen much grappling from Bruno since he entered the UFC. Like I said, most of his wins have come from knockout. But I'm pretty sure the dude can grapple. So I'm going to have to go with Bruno to actually win this fight. I think his striking's better, and I think his grappling is going to be enough to keep him on the feet. The next fight is Andre Arlovski versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Now, Cortez Acosta is a much better striker than Andre Arlovski. When it comes to grappling, none of them is a really good grappler. And although the stats do favor Andre Arlovski, Waldo Acosta hasn't been in the UFC long enough to really kind of have those stats. But I'm pretty sure the dude can grapple. Now, I really don't see this fight being a grappling match. I really see it being a stand-up and trade kind of match. And to be honest, honest, I think if Andrei Arlovski stands up and trades with Waldo, which most likely in my opinion he's gonna do, he's gonna lose. I think this fight will be a striking match, and I think Waldo will come out on top. So Waldo is going to be my choice here. The next fight we have is Matthew Semelsberg versus Preston Parsons. And the striking is, to be honest, really even here. And it does favor Preston slightly. However, when we get to grappling, that is where Preston is going to have the huge advantage. And since I think Preston has the advantage in grappling and has a slightly better striking game, I'm definitely going to go with him as my pick for this fight. The next fight we have is Marcus McGee versus Gaston Balanos. And although Gaston has a little more landed per minute, I think the defense of Marcus McGee at a 77% is going to give him the edge when it comes to striking. And when it comes to grappling, well, we really haven't seen much from either man. They're really not grapplers. But based off what I'm seeing here, I'm going to go with Marcus McGee to get this win. The next fight we have is Farid Bashar versus Taylor Lapis. Farid Bashar is currently 11-0, undefeated. He is a slightly better striker and a slightly better grappler, so I'm going to have to give him the win over Taylor Lapis. The next fight is going to be Weston Wilson versus Gene Sylvia. Now, Gene Sylvia got did dirty by the UFC. They put his record as 1-0, but it's actually 11-2. And he is mainly a stand-up striker. However, the UFC has his grappling listed at a 100% takedown defense. Now, when it comes to the striking department, Gene Silva is definitely the better striker just overall in general. Weston Wilson is a grappler and he's really good at it. But when it comes to grappling, we have yet to see much from Gene Silva. Now, if Gene Silva can manage to stay on the feet and stay away from Weston Wilson, he'll probably survive. But just being 100% honest, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. So I'm going to go with Weston Wilson to beat Gene Silva here. Our next fight is going to be Nicholas Moda versus Tom Nolan. Tom Nolan is currently 6-0 as a fighter. Now, he is mainly a stand-up fighter with striking, all of his wins coming from knockout and or decision. I think he is a better striker than Nicholas Moda. However, is he a better grappler? That remains to be seen. I think that is going to be a big one here. But if I had to choose someone to win, I'm definitely going to go Tom Nolan. The next fight we have is Joshua Van versus Felipe Buns. Joshua Van is a much better striker. However, the grappler is going to be Felipe Buns. He is much better. Joshua Van is a much better striker. However, Felipe Buns is a much better grappler. Although the UFC's website doesn't say it, 62% of the guy's wins come from submission. However, Joshua Van can also grapple. He has a 22% submission rating for his record, but he is mainly known for his striking. To be honest, if Joshua Van can keep it up on the feet, which I think he can, I think he is going to be able to beat Felipe. So I'm going to go with Joshua Van to win this fight. And that's it. We're done. I hope you guys did enjoy. It was my first prediction video, so please don't be too harsh with me. But please leave me feedback on how I could get better. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, love all of you. See you next time. Peace out. Have a good one, and bye-bye.